Today, we're gonna learn how to give new leather an aged look. Stay tuned. On last week's long skill, I made this leather cape here for my druid costume. So this original character is a corrupted druid who's in a swamp, so all of his clothing's becoming kind of worn and tattered and corrupted along with him. As such, that means that nice leather cape that I made looks kind of out of place with everything else. The leather looking all clean and new, like you left the swamp for a day just to go shopping for something pretty. Luckily, I learned the technique for distressing leather and making it look older is actually pretty simple. And it all starts with a bit of rubbing alcohol. This one came in a nice little spray bottle, but you can always just put it in a mister or get like a regular bottle and just add a little sprayer to the top of it if you have one. So I just go ahead and I mist that alcohol onto the leather to dampen it. Now you don't want it too wet, you just want it lightly covered. Basically, the alcohol starts to dry out the leather, giving it a more aged look. Now, while it's still moist with the alcohol, I went ahead and started crumpling it up, being really rough with it, getting as many creases and folds into it as I could. Don't be afraid to just beat this thing up here. Stamp on it, whatever. You want to make those creases and folds stay put. What's going to happen, and I did it on a smaller piece here, is you go from having this really kind of nice smooth grain to having more of a rough kind of wrinkled alligator skin look to it. Now at this stage, we've got some good texture in there. Now we've got to start beating the hell out of this thing. There is a method to the madness though. You don't want to just willy-nilly rough it up. You want to look at places that would be roughed up naturally. So like, let's say you were wearing a leather jacket. Obviously the elbows will get more wear and tear because you're going to be on them like this than like your forearm might get. Or if you lean up against things a lot, your upper back will get a lot of wear and tear, whereas in your lower back, you probably won't because you got that little dip behind there. So now to actually start laying in this wear and tear, I busted out this wire brush here so I can start making more rough marks. And again, I'm hitting those higher, more wear and tear usage places like the armholes, the upper back, and the leg area. Basically all the spots that would rub and tear from constant movement or trying to like pick your way through a swamp. Next, I move in with this 220 grit sanding block to add in some more gentle wear and tear, just making the color lighten a bit in some places and causing the leather to fuzz a little bit. Finally, to simulate having walked through rough terrain where trees are scraping against you and thorny bushes might be catching on your clothing, I dig into the leather with this awl. And though it may seem I'm being pretty rough with it, these little markings end up fading kind of into the background as that leather re-expands around it a little bit. Okay, at this point it's really roughed up, but it still looks like a new piece of leather that you just kind of beat the heck out of. That is because as leather ages from use, it usually develops a patina. So you get that darker kind of color, but you also still have a lot of shine to it. It's not just that kind of really rough, dry looking, unless you really haven't taken care of your leather. So to add some of that shine back and also give it a little bit more color variation, I busted out this block of beeswax. This stuff is a great way to add some simple aging to a project. All you have to do is rub it onto the leather and then go back in with a rag and really rub in those areas that you want darker. The friction caused by the rag and the beeswax cause the leather to darken in a really natural way. So you can kind of control having like darker edges into that lighter middle where you would have had a lot more use, and just in general has a really cool look to it. At this point, it's actually looking really good. I'd be happy with this if it was like a leather jacket I was wearing or something that I just kind of wanted to be out and about in the real natural world, you know? But this is for a character that wanders the swamps. I need it to be a little bit more dirty looking, a little bit more roughed up. Now this could be achieved by actually bringing some dirt into this party. A lot of people who distress leather jackets for like movies or whatever will then take pretty much what we've done here, bring it to some dirt and just beat the heck out of it. The thing is, you really want it to be dry dirt. You don't want to be rubbing it through the mud, and it has been raining for the past like 4 days here. So instead, I decided to use this brown antique dye just to add a little bit more of a dirty effect to it without actually rubbing it in the mud. I just made sure there was never too much on the rag and rubbed in all the areas that were higher caused by wrinkles and folds, and made sure it was more spotty and dirty towards the bottom where you'd be going through the marshy bog than it was at the top. And this really amped up the look and gave it almost a post-apocalyptic kind of feel. I genuinely like how this came out. I think it looks pretty cool, and it also adds to the costume. It fits with everything a lot better now. You, of course, don't have to go this crazy. If you have a leather bag or a leather jacket you want to add some extra age to, you can use these techniques until it looks right and then leave it there. Now, I hope you liked this skill. If you did, why don't you give me some of that like it love, and do not forget to subscribe so you know when I release new content. In the meantime, though, keep leveling up, you.